Hi, thanks for coming back to the Trahan Therapy Center where we shape minds and change lives. I'm your wonderful host, Shanna Trahan, and thanks again for being here. Today, I was just thinking about a topic that many people have to deal with, and I was like, you know what, we should talk about this because a lot of times people do what I'm about to talk about, but they don't really go through the process that I'll describe. And so I want to make sure that any of you who are thinking about blending a family consider several items first. Number one on the list, what is it that people who are considering a blended family need to consider? Oops, shall I define that first? I'm sorry. So, a blended family. So, let's just say you have a couple of kids, and then maybe dating someone who's got a couple of kids. Your intention is to move in together or get married, and your kids will be a part of this relationship. So, the question is, how do you create a good blended family situation? Um, Number one, I would say that the relationship needs to be steady and stable and positive between the adults because the adults really are the foundation for everything else happening. Kids, depending on their ages, can be pretty easygoing, um, but also that whether or not they're easygoing has a lot to do with the other parents that could be involved, as well as whatever traumas or things that they've experienced. So, number one, the adults involved need to be on a healthy, stable place. Number two, if your child has a relationship with the other parent, for example, let's just say I'll use myself for example. So if my child would have a relationship with their father, who is not the person I'm dating now, then that father needs to know of the other person and perhaps at some point talk to the other person so everybody could be on the same page because this is that person's kids, especially if they're involved. I mean, it's a totally different situation if you have an absent parent who's totally uninvolved, totally does not, apply at that point. But if you have another parent who's involved, then that person should be aware of the other person, perhaps at some point confer with that person together with the person that you're dating. Okay, so like a three people or four people coming together, having a little conversation, everybody agreeing about the situation insofar as, hey, you can discipline my kids, or, what kind of boundaries and guidelines will be set. Because sometimes people come together and then the girlfriend or the boyfriend, the husband or the wife or the intendeds don't make clear certain boundaries, or that other parent who is partaking has not been informed. And the worst thing in the world to have happen is that you guys come together under one roof, and now it's like, oh my God, what about this? What about that? Well, why didn't I know about this person? Who are my kids living with? What is going on? So it's better to kind of resolve all that before it even becomes a thing, so that your new situation can be one of peace, happiness, love, and joy. Okay, so those are the first two. Number one, the adults, the people in the relationship being on steady ground, positive relationship. Number two, if there are any other parents involved, I would say communicating with them, everybody coming together as one and being on the same page. The next part is going to be the child relationships. So there's so many dynamics involved in this, especially depending on the ages of the kids, the backgrounds of the kids, the experiences of the kids. And of course, you already know, I'm going to say, you know what? Counseling could be a good segue into managing relationships, learning how to, take turns and be collaborative and all that kind of stuff. Because if you've already been living with your mom or your dad, and let's just say under that one household, in that one house, you were getting your way, the kid was getting their way, getting to do whatever they wanted, getting away with murder. And now they're moving into a household where the other person that you're with is going to be like, nope, stop, leave it alone, put it up. They have a different way of managing their household. Again, This is not to create issues. This is to alleviate any issues at the outset. So before anybody moves in, having these conversations, discussing these things with the kids, making sure everybody's on the same page, letting people also understand, okay, this is a trusted person to me. And if this person asks you to do something that is appropriate, then I just need you to do it. Okay. And so that's how I would tell my kids about, like, if they went to school with teachers, if your teacher asks you to do something that's appropriate and that is, non-harmful, just do it. If the teacher says sit down, if the teacher asks you to, go sharpen your pencil now, just do it. But if it's something, of course, that's inappropriate, now you come to me as a parent. Okay. So that way you can be clear with your child about setting boundaries and what's okay and what's not okay. All right. So those child relationships, I would say, let it happen gently, but also letting those kids spend time together to kind of get to know each other's personalities and get to like each other, perhaps, and maybe, even love each other with enough time spent doing positive things, or even just hanging out around the house sometimes. So letting your kids get to know each other before just moving all their stuff in, I would say it's probably a good way to go. No need to traumatize the kids. Oh my God, where am I? Who are these people? What's happening now? So I would say it's very important that you let the kids spend time together, get to know each other, and grow together. And they might want to know, they might have questions about, okay, well, is this my sister? Is this my friend? Because as you go to school, maybe they're near the same grades. It's like, okay, well, how do I describe this other person to other people? Because they might want to know, who is this? This is my dad's girlfriend's daughter. This is my cousin's sister's friend. How do I describe this person? So I would say that that's something that, again, the adults need to discuss, the adults need to come to terms with, and then make a decision about these kinds of things. So some of the things that tend to or can create issues also is, and I didn't even have it here on my list, but I want to address it before I get to these next points. It's going to be child support. So it's very important that when you're coming together, that everybody has finances enough to kind of work through whatever issues you have, and making sure that you and your partner are on a good financial setting, and that you got footing, and that you have a plan for finances. And if that's 50-50, if that's, let's look at our incomes and on a percentage basis. If that's okay, hey, let's just go ahead, open a little account up, and we'll just put money there for bills or something. But either way, you have to come up with a plan together so that there's no questions about the expectations and how you guys are going to work together as a team. Okay, there's no I in team. So let's just say sometimes you have a mother or father who's not paying child support. And so is it fair that your mate has to come in and take up 100% of the slack, of that absent parent? How is that going to work itself out? Also, I want to say this before going to the next points. It's very important that if you're inviting somebody into your child's life, and in this day and age, your grandchild's life or great grandkids' life, I mean, there's so many natural parents who are not raising their own kids. So whoever it is, I would say that person has to be a person who loves children, who cares about you, and who, wants to be a positive force in the lives of whatever child is around you. And so if you're trying to get with someone, but you see that they're disinterested in kids, don't show a love, care, and concern for kids, aren't willing to do the things that it takes to help to raise kids, then that person may not be for you. Hey, let me, let's shack up together, let's get married, but I really don't care about your kids. So it's very important that whoever you're uniting with cares about kids, and is not just trying to get you to be the missing parent. That there's something greater there between the two of you, other than them trying to get a role fulfilled that may not be being fulfilled by the absent parent. Okay? So the other parts here is going to be support, correction, and discipline. Support is, hey, one of the kids has homework. I see that they need help with the homework. I'm not going to look at them and be like, oh, well, go ask your dad, go ask your mom. I mean, whatever adult is present should help. But if one person is still working, maybe the other person can help. And then maybe the other person, when they get home or whatever, they can help to cook or clean, or, you guys have to figure out a good balancing act. Maybe giving them a certain time to do the homework, but if there's something they need help with, even establishing a time for that. So support is really positive. Support can be just listening. Sometimes, asking the kid, how was your day? What was good in your day? Did you get along well with your friends today in class? So just kind of listening to that kid, understanding where they're coming from for that day, and then maybe signing their folders, different things like that. Pardon me, I was about to cough. Excuse me one second. Oh, excuse me. Okay, thank you. All right. So support can just be listening. Support can be going to a child's game or event that they're part of, supporting them in some kind of extracurricular activity. So those things can be support, and it's really important that everybody's trying to support. And sometimes it cannot be 100% because of schedules and such, but certainly make sure that you insert yourself to positively support those children on both sides, okay? All right, and correction, gentle correction. So everyone has their own idea of what gentle correction should look like and what's a part of that and everything. So I'm just going to say that it's really important that when you are correcting a child that you did not birth or is not on paper 100% your responsibility, that you use kid gloves. And every now and then, a child can kind of catch you off guard, and you're like, that voice goes high pitch and it's like, oops, I didn't mean to do that. So just be mindful and slow to correction. Just be slow about it if you can. So I think that establishing rules and guidelines, what is expected of you, what do you expect of the kids? What are they hoping to have in you as, if you will, a step parent or an bonus mom or bonus dad? What kind of things that are they hoping to have in a relationship with you? So it's not just about what the adults want, it's also about what the kids hope to have. And so if they can feel heard, the relationships can be genuine and grow deeper, right? So I if something is not done to satisfaction, just having a conversation. Hey, Lindsay, I really enjoy it when you do XYZ. However, we really don't do, ABC because this, that, and the other. You kind of just explain that to them and then give them an opportunity to self-correct. Versus if they do something that's not okay, just kind of going in on them. So try to seek to understand and be a teacher throughout the process. And then if it gets, kind of out of hand, and you've kind of redirected a few times and they're still doing their own thing, definitely getting with that birth parent, your mate, and being like, hey, babe, listen, I've had to correct Lindsay Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday about the same thing. I'm really needing your support right now. I'm going to need you to talk to her because I'm not sure why she's not following through on what we discussed. She said she understood. She told me she realized that, maybe that wasn't the best action and that she was going to change her actions, but she's still doing the same thing. So at that point, then both parents, well, you and your mate should come together with Lindsay and sit down, and then you kind of listen to your mate communicate with that child. And then, you support your mate, and your mate should be supporting you. And that child knows now that, hey, my parent is going to support their mate, but they're also helping me to understand that they agree with this and that this is the expectation. So that way you work together. Trying to talk to your child separately, having the other person talk to the child separately, I don't think is really beneficial because the child does not see the cohesiveness in the relationship. So it's important for the kids to know that there's a cohesive relationship between the adults and that they're supporting the big picture and the same behaviors and goals and things like that. So, discipline. Some people spank, some people do time out. Some people, something that I've done in my past is like, you know what? Write about it. Write about what you did, what you should have done differently, and what you can do differently next time. So it depends again on the age of the child. But if the child is old enough, make them write. There's never enough writing for kids because it helps them to learn and practice writing skills. Okay. So yeah, they can write about it. So depending on their age, like, first grade, maybe they can write 2 or 3 sentences. Fourth grade, they can write 2 paragraphs. Eighth grade, 2 pages. Make them write. So that's, again, it doesn't always have to be a physical discipline. It could be something different that also helps to build that child. Okay. It could be, you know what? Well, while you're in there washing the dishes, I want you to think about what you should have done differently and what you'll do differently next time. And then we'll come together and discuss it as a family. Everything doesn't have to be strong discipline. All right, guys. So making sure that you're on the same page with discipline. Everybody disciplines their kids differently because we came from a different place, had a different upbringing. But certainly you guys need to come together and be on the same page about disciplining the kids. Because if one person does something that's totally out of bounds from how the other person disciplines their kids, this could create an area that's a problem. And so it's really important that you sit down, have these conversations, understand each other, be on the same page. And like I said, go back, have those conversations with the kids so the kids can understand some of the expectations. Are we running in the house? Are we doing flips all over the house? What are we doing in the house versus what are we doing outside? Okay. All right. So, yeah, so that's what I have for you. And so ultimately, family therapy can be beneficial to start out, like 3 to 5 sessions or something like that, 10 sessions, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, everybody's understanding each other. If there's any issues that any person has with the situation, that is brought to the forefront early on versus kind of festering in the background and then turning into a big deal. Okay. All right, guys. So I hope that Shanna Trahan over here at the Trahan Therapy Center, have imparted some good wisdom and advice and support to you for your new upcoming venture of blended family. And I will just say to you, many blessings. Do not forget to go to TrahanTherapyHouston.com. Check out our inspirational shop. We've got a lot of great things there for you. And soon I'll be having a lot of things here to show you so you can know exactly what you're missing out on if you have not been there yet. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page because we're active all the time just for you, loving you and wanting to support you however we can. So if you have an idea about a topic, please leave that idea below because we want to support you in every way, every day. And also subscribe and like this video. Make sure if you know someone that's going to be having a blended family or are considering it, share the video with them. Maybe this will be a good segue before they kind of jump in so that they can know what to look for and what things to do so that they can be supported. One more time, make sure that the adults are on good footing. That's the people that 2 adults in the relationship. Then make sure that if you have any other parents that are attentive and active in their kids' lives, that they're a part and that you guys are all on the same page about things like support, correction, and discipline. And then also making sure that the child relationships, that you kind of go slow and steady with that, but also communicate with the kids in advance so that they can kind of have some ideas of what that's going to look like and what their behavior should be and how they should communicate and get along with each other. And then of course, the child support part we kind of talked about, making sure that you're not overly burdening your mate, that it's a situation where everybody's able to kind of come to the table and be able to be supportive all the way around. Support, correction, and discipline, making sure that you guys are on the same page with that. And then again, family therapy, I mean, it never hurts, guys. So make sure that you get with a good family therapist in your area. Anywhere within your state, you can see a family therapist virtually and sometimes in person. We love in person. But anyway, many blessings. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Subscribe and like. See you later. Bye for now.